It has been a while since I've done a video like this, but hey ho, let's go on with it. So over the years, I've been through a couple of different audio products. I started with a built-in DAC amp. When I say built-in, it's more of a DAC amp combo. That was the Beresford Cayman Mark II. It sounded lovely, don't get me wrong, but the reliability of it was shocking. So I had to move on to something else. So I decided to go with a separate DAC and a separate headphone amplifier. I had the JDS Labs OL DAC and the amp I'm using at the moment, the JDS Labs Atom. And it's a fine amplifier, absolutely fine. It's just obviously the build quality, it's plastic, it's what you'd expect really for $100, but it outputs a lot of power and it sounds really, really good, especially when paired with a good DAC. But then all of a sudden I decided to move on to a different DAC, and it was this one, the SMSL M300. And again, I think it might have been a worthwhile investment, but I wouldn't know, because in terms of the overall sound quality, I couldn't hear much of a difference. And that's actually running off of the balanced outputs on this, albeit going through adapters, of course, but I couldn't really hear a difference. So what I've decided to do was condense my audio setup down further. I've decided to go back to a DAC amp combo unit, and the one I've gone for is actually sitting below the camera now. It is this one, the Audiophile ZEN DAC. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this, so let's just hope I've made the right decision in going with this. So let's go over to the desk and unbox it. If the camera moves, I do apologise. I've not had this set up for a long time. So anyway, the ZEN DAC. So on the box, it's very well presented. I think what they're going with is a more sort of young person friendly appearance. So it's got the splashes of green and the DAC is in full view. That it's got this really, really cool writing here. So on this side, it just says Zen. Find your inner calm with the Audiophile ZEN series, because I know they actually do make the Blue DAC, which is a Bluetooth streaming device, and it looks exactly the same as this. So obviously on this side it shows what the inputs and outputs look like. It says Audiophile, and on the back it tells you all the specs. It uses USB 3.0, but it is USB 2.0 compatible. Analog outputs, it has a standard 1/4 inch, blah blah blah. Anyway, enough of that. So formats it can support up to DSD at 12.4 megahertz, DXD at, I'm guessing that's 353 bits at 384 kilohertz, and PCM at 192. Outputs, yeah, anyway, enough of that. Let's just get inside this box, shall we? So removing the sleeve, it just reveals a very standard white cardboard box with Audiophile on the side. Opening that up, we reveal your warranty card. Inside that, it has a very, very quick guide on how to use and what all the controls do. There's the Zen Blue that I mentioned earlier. So this is the Bluetooth streamer that you can connect up to an amplifier. I think you could connect it up to this, but I don't know. So let's move that out of the way. You may have noticed my keyboard's obviously not here. I needed the space. So I'll get to the DAC itself in a moment, but first let's go to the accessory box here, inside of which we find, well, that's handy. So it looks like we have a 1/4 inch adapter in here. It's not labelled or anything, but it's nice that they include one, so I can actually use, by the looks of it, 3.5mm headphones. So we've got that, that's quite handy. And then we've got the cables. So you only get two main cables. You've got your USB 3.0 cable, which is quite short, I find. So if you're doing, so I can imagine if you're plugging this into a laptop, it should be fine, but because it's going into a desktop computer, I'm not so sure. So I have got a longer lead for that, so that can go back in this box. Actually, no, I'll keep that as a spare USB 3. It's always very handy to have. And then we've got iFi's signature purple phono leads. I mean, they feel quite nice. Again, really short. So if you're doing a really short run, these will be fine, but if not, you're going to need longer ones, and I have got longer leads to use on this one. I'll put that in there in my drawer for now. But now let's get to the main event itself, the DAC in question. It's quite a heavy little DAC actually. I like the fact that inside here, this is actually eco-friendly cardboard. It's obviously recycled. It actually says thank you on the bottom there, which is quite nice. And you've got the silica gel, which some bugger ate once. So let's move that box out of the way, and let's focus our attention on the iFi ZEN DAC itself here. It's all very nicely wrapped up, and there it is. That couldn't look any more simple if it tried. So, on the front, we have obviously the volume dial, which feels very smooth actually. Oh, I like that. I definitely like that actually. We also have power match, which effectively speaking is the gain switch, so high and low gain. So if you're using, say, very sensitive IEMs or hard to drive headphones, you can use that. True bass, which is effectively a bass boost. There's volume dial, as I mentioned earlier. Then you've got your unbalanced headphone output, which is a 1/4 inch, and a 4.4mm balanced headphone out. So if you're using balanced headphones, you can plug them into here. If the balanced headphones happen to have mini XLR, you might need to get an adapter for it, but it should be fine. Then on the back, we have another balanced 4.4mm output. So this could be used to, say, run to powered monitors or balanced headphone amplifiers and so on. If you want to bypass a headphone amp in this, that is. We have a switch which says variable on this side and fixed on this side, so this will change the behavior of both this and this. I'll be having it on fixed myself, as I'm outputting from the phono connectors here to a mini speaker amp. It says next to it MQA and balanced, so this is MQA compatible. And there's your digital input, which is a single USB 3.0, and this will also provide power as well. So if you're using this over USB 3.0, there'll be enough power to run this unit. And then we've got a separate DC 5V input. So if say, for instance, you're running this off of USB 2.0 and it doesn't quite have enough power, you can do that. Or if you're running this off 3.0 but you just need a little bit more oomph, you can again use the power output there. Okay, that is the unboxing complete. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing some A/B testing. So I'm going to be comparing this with the SMSL M300, as I said, and the JDS Labs Atom headphone amplifier. And the headphones I'll be using will be, first up, the Fostex TH610s, because these are my absolute babies and I adore them in every way, shape and form. Plus they're actually really easy to drive, so it'll be good to go backwards and forwards between each headphone. And I'm also going to be using my Hypherman HE400Is, because these are very difficult to drive headphones as they're planar magnetic. They obviously require a lot of power, and I'm actually really curious to see, because the output power of this, according to the back of the box, it says the unbalanced headphone amp or headphone out is only capable of 280 milliwatts that's at 300 ohm though. I can't remember what it was at 32 ohm, and balanced, I believe that, no, I got that wrong. It's actually 280 milliwatts at 32 ohm on the unbalanced, and 380 milliwatts at 50 ohm on the balanced. So this will be interesting to see with this particular DAC. So yeah, there's going to be lots of A/B testing, and I'll report back with my findings. See you soon. Okay. Don't worry, this isn't the third time I've tried to record this ending bit. Anyway, Audiophile, I have a question for you about your ZEN DAC. Why didn't I buy this thing sooner? But not even joking. I've been through my first DAC amp combo, which didn't push headphones that strong enough. I've been through a separate DAC amp combo, and then a balanced DAC combined with that same amplifier. And that amplifier, by the way, was the JDS Labs Atom. And I can safely say with absolute confidence that this, which is powered by USB 3.0, which isn't as powerful of a headphone amp than the Atom, this eclipses all of them combined. It's difficult to describe music because whenever I listen to music personally, usually it's just through my phone and through a pair of Bluetooth headphones, which is when I enjoy music the most. But actually listening to them through a computer, although in this instance it's streamed through Google Play Music, you can still hear little details that you wouldn't otherwise notice through something like this. So I was just listening now to The Earth Prelude by Ludovico Einaudi, and it just sounded so clean. That's all I can really describe the music as through the Audiophile ZEN DAC. It just sounded clean. Now, as you know on this, there's two different settings for power match, which is the gain switch, and bass boost, and which is called true bass. I had these enabled when I was using these headphones in particular, the Hyperman HE400Is, because they're planar magnetic and they do require a lot of power to run them. But it still managed to run them perfectly fine without any real issue. Again, as I said though, I did have to engage the true bass and power match to actually get some more characterful sound out of it. In terms of low end, low end's absolutely fine, even with true bass disabled. But when you do enable it, it adds a lot more bass, but it does not drown out any of the other sounds of the music. So, as I said, with Ludovico Einaudi, you can hear every little key press and every little time he used the pedals on the piano. When listening to something even like a standard pop song, like for instance, going from what I've got on here, The Mother We Share by Churches, the vocals are really charming, I think. And then going to something like God of War, you can feel every time those drums are used. I don't know how I'm describing music, but I can't describe it like every other audiophile person out there. This is just from what I'm getting personally. And then when I listen to BFG Division by Mick Gordon, for instance, well, what I can actually hear from that is just literally genuine testosterone and pure unbridled anger from the Slayer. I don't know how an artist can harness that kind of music style, but Mick Gordon has done it. It's actually small wonder that the Doom 2016 soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks in recent years. So, with that said though, do I recommend the ZEN DAC? Yeah, I really do, because it's £130, so it's not that much money, all things considered. But for what you're getting in here, you're getting a very nice DAC, a very, very good headphone amplifier, and the fact that you have a balanced output as well, which is an extra bonus, and you can switch the outputs between variable and fixed. So in my case, I've got it set to fixed, and it's going through a speaker amp. One thing I will say, however, and again, this is actually something that I did notice when I was previously recording, the outputs at the back will not switch off when you plug headphones in. So the rear outputs will constantly go all the time. And again, if you are using planar headphones, then you will need to engage power match to just get something from it, because at the, let's just say at the 9 o'clock position on the volume dial, I could hardly hear anything through normal power through the planars. But when I engaged power match, it brought it up just right to a comfortable listening level. Now, as I said, I'll admit I'm not the best person to talk about audio products. I really am not. I bought this purely based on other reviews out there, on other recommendations. I did not buy this to test. I did not buy this to review. This is just purely my thoughts on what other people have said, and from what everyone else is saying, they are 100% correct. That this is a wholehearted recommendation from so many people. Considering that it's $130 or £130 depending on where you buy it from, this little DAC amp is perfect. But not quite. I think that's all I can really say. Thank you very much for watching. Go buy this, you won't regret it, and I'll see you soon. Bye.